Hello there and welcome to Young Business. If you're a youth in South Africa, then you've probably seen or experienced that the chances of employment are slim to none. However, that does not have to be the end of the world. You can still take up space. If you feel that this is your time to level up, to build your own table, set the agenda, and of course, eventually make this money, then Young Business is the channel for you. My name is Kiarena and I'm here to learn entrepreneurship and business with you. If that is something that you are interested in, subscribe to this channel, push your notifications bell, and share the link with your friends. Let's get to learning. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. Before we get to today's video, allow me to put out a disclaimer out there. I'm not a professional. I'm just somebody trying to understand the world of business and entrepreneurship. I'm here to bring together resources and people that can hopefully help me and you rise in the world of business. In today's episode, we are looking at business strategy. What is it? Why do you need it? And how do you even go about formulating one? The truth is, whether you are an aspiring influencer, an entrepreneur, or an entertainer, whatever it is that you want to go into, you do need a strategy. For this, I have a business strategist from Tornicles Inc. that is going to take us through the subject matter. Let's let him introduce himself.
Hi guys, how are you? My name is MrTonderai Magaya and I'm a business strategist at Tornicles Inc. I have been helping small business owners, entrepreneurs, startups, innovators, even students with their projects which has to do with business development, public relations, and just general administration. I have been doing this for the past 6 years and I will continue doing this in order that we put Africa on the map, we put all our generation on the map of achieving things. It's not only about learning from old people, it's about learning from each other so that we can build a bright future.
Welcome to Young Business, Tonderai. Thank you so much for honoring my invitation, and again, thank you so much for your time. I suppose the first natural question would be, what is a business strategy?
A business strategy is something which a person combine or a team combine and say, okay, we have this plan and our plan is these programs, and in our programs we have these projects, and in those projects that's where you put operational tactics. Okay, how are you going to do this and how are you going to do that? So usually the business strategy, it's all to do how you're going to make profit or how you are going to make your business viable. So to me, a business strategy is that the channels you get, the terminals you have, the ideas, the plans, and the tactics, you all combine together so that you fulfill your purpose for your own goal.
Alright, the second and third question: as an entrepreneur, a small startup, or an entertainer, why do I need a business strategy, and at exactly what point should I have one in place?
Alright, you want to know why, at which point does a person have to have a strategy? It's simple. The moment you write your goal down and say, this is my goal, I want to have $1 million by the time I reach the age of 30, 40, or 60, and then you have a purpose for your goal. The next thing you are going to do is a strategy. This is before you look for funding, before you look for anything. It's a strategy. How are you going to move from this area to this area? How are you going to make sure that your goal, your idea is going to be viable and your business is going to be feasible and everything is going to move from where it is to where you want to be? So when you do your goal, you do your purpose. You say, okay, what is the purpose for this goal? For example, let's say I'm a musician. I'm like, I want to be recognized in my country. I want my music to change the way people think in terms of a certain sector in the community. Let's take, for example, people are doing drugs. Everyone, young and adults, they're doing drugs. So I want to use my voice so that I can change the community. So my goal is to change the community, is to educate the community about dangers of drugs. And what is the purpose? My purpose can be long. My purpose can be a lot of things. So first purpose would be like, I have seen a lot of families being tearing apart. I've seen a lot of families getting destroyed. So my purpose is to reunite the family. If I sing about drug abuse, they're gonna know what drug is, what drug can do to a person, and then they'll quit and unite as a family. I want to destroy the whole industry of drugs, of selling drugs and doing this. So when I sing, people be aware about their own drug, about all these drugs they're taking, and then in the end, my goal is going to be achievable of singing to make sure that people are leaving drugs. Then I need something to guide me. I need something to be on my side, like my bodyguards, like my advice and stuff. That's where I create a policy saying, for me to do this, I will have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If I want to go on the radio, this is how I do, this is how I talk. If I'm going to respond to people, this is what I do and this is how I do. If I'm going to walk with the public, this is how I walk. People will be laughing saying, walking is part of strategy. It's strategy. Just remember, if you are an influencer or anyone, whatever you post on social media can come back to you. Whatever you say, how you respond can come back to you. So as an individual who's so clever, you already have to safeguard yourself. Because if you have a goal and you have your own policy, your own purpose, what will happen is you need your policy. How are you going to recruit more people to be with you? How are you going to advertise your thing? How are you going to do this? What guides you? What can you do? If someone is in advertising, what can they do if they're in this area? That's the whole thing. You need to come up and say, I have the idea, and you write a policy on each and everything. Then from there, that's where you start writing your plan. Some say business plan. Yeah, write your business plan. Write your pitch. Write anything which makes sure that your plan will make you fulfill your goal. Then go on, do the programs. Go on, do the project, and involve all the tactics. Involve everything. In the end, you are going to have a productive business, because the only time you can put a strategy is either you're arriving at something which is new, you're moving yourself from the up to down, or you're taking yourself from down to up. Because each and every level or each and every sector in business or in life needs a strategy, and the strategies, they differ according to where you are in a certain area or in a certain stage. One who really want to know, like, okay, an entertainer and a startup, why they need a business strategy. It's so easy, because as an entertainer, if you don't have a strategy to pull the crowd, if you don't have a strategy to make your own self known, if you don't have a strategy to make your shows, to make your art, to make your all the entertainment things you do being heard by other people, then you're operating to fail. It's same as a startup. You need to have a business strategy, and so that you know how to move. Remember, when we said what is a business strategy, these are tactics. So in your tactics, that's where you have public relations plan, that's your marketing plan, administration plan, financial plan. In all these things, you need to put them in a strategy. And a business strategy consists of 9 things. The first thing is this: as you combine your strategy, you need to have a goal for that. So let's say you have a goal where you want to reach your profit in the next few weeks, and then in that you put the purpose for that. Because if you don't have a purpose for that goal, you won't be able to achieve it within that period of time. Then from there you move on and you go on to the policy, how you're going to guide yourself. Because in a strategy, if you don't have a policy which will guide you to go through, you won't go through. And there are no two ways about that. And then you move on to create a plan. Then you put the programs in your plan. Then you put the projects in your plan. And then in the project, this is what you need. You have a major target of the project. You have primary targets, operational targets, so that when you're doing something, you don't lose your purpose. You don't lose your focus. You are always aligned with your policy. With that, you create the whole ideal scene. You create a workable area, a workable environment. You create your own passion in such a way that other people will start to admire and want to join you. Because, my friend, without a business strategy, either a startup, an entertainer, you won't make it. It doesn't matter how crazy your strategy is. There is no strategy which is a wrong strategy. The only wrong strategy is when you create a strategy and apply it on a wrong platform, or apply it on a wrong sector or industry and stuff. Every strategy is a way which it works, and it can make you or your business improves from where it is to where you want.
The 4th question: what are the components of a business strategy? Just exactly what does it entail?
So the components of a business strategy, they differ with what you are doing as an individual. So I'm going to tell you that two components of business strategy I use. The first one is to work out my administration, and the second one is to work out how I measure my own production and see when I fail how I do. So the first one, whereby I have to create my own administration, that's whereby I have a goal and a purpose. I write them down on top goal, and then I start to write all the purposes, or if it's a single purpose, then I create my own policy. So on creating policy, that's where I write how I'm gonna get paid, how am I gonna pay people, how do I recruit people, how do I fire people, what's gonna be happening at my workplace, how many days do we work a week, how do we communicate to the public, what do we need in an organization and what don't we need in an organization, the rules of a staff member and everything. So with all those things, I'm gonna go on instead. Okay, now that I have a policy which is gonna safeguard my goal and my purpose, the thing is now I need a plan to make sure that my goal or my goal can be attainable and I don't run away from my own purpose. So that's where I'll create my own plan. My plan should involve like who, where, when, why, and how. So in all those 5 parts, that's when I'll then create a program. There's a program, it depends on what I'm going to do. If it means I'm gonna start reading this and I'm gonna invite these people, I'm gonna attending workshops and stuff like that. So I'll write different programs there. And then from there, what I'll move, I'll go to project. So if I'm attending a workshop, that's a workshop project. I need to know what's my major target at that workshop, and what are my primary targets. I need to list them, and what are vital targets. And then from there, I now need to write my operational targets. So the operational targets, those are where you are going to explain how you're gonna move from A to B. If it means how you're gonna park your car, how you're gonna when you arrive, how are you going to talk to people and stuff like that. So all those things you're gonna be putting them in writing so that you practice each and every time. And then when you go to a workshop, when you go to a seminar, when you go to meet a client, you already have what you want to do and how you want to do it. That's the only way you can close a deal. Then from there, you now want to give orders. You're like, okay, now I need orders. What do I need? Not orders of ordering pizza, no. Orders of sending someone to do something or getting something done. So that's where you go and meet people from your own projects, or do go somewhere and meet clients. And then what happens is, you now received what these people want and then start to work on it. But while you're working on it, that's where you have the whole ideal scene of what is really happening. And then when you have the whole ideal scene of what is happening, you now want to measure how you are performing. That's where we move to the second thing which you need, or a second component of business strategy. So in measuring how you are performing, we have a lot of things. So the first stage, which a person arrives and say, okay, I'm arriving here, this is either a new gig, this is either a new project, this is either a new thing, either I'm getting promoted, demoted, or I just got fired. You arrive in an area where you don't even exist, so you want to make yourself exist in that area. So the first thing you need to do is to find people, find terminals, find what is this, where is this, and then when you find these people at the internet, at the wherever, phone calls, workshops, and everywhere, that's when you're going to introduce yourself. After introducing yourself, you get what these people want, and when you get what these people want, then you deliver. So the first stage is this one, is where you arrive at a scene and you don't even exist, and you want to make yourself known and get to know other people. So there you're just on a baseline, you don't measure anything. But the moment you reach out to people, you meet people, introduce yourself, that's where you start to take. This week I met 2 people, so next week I'm gonna meet 4 people, or next week I'm gonna meet 10 people. And that's where you start to put your own targets, your own goals, your own everything about each and every person. Remember when I was talking about how to administer your business, where you write your goal and your purpose. It's the same here. You meet someone, and then you have a goal for that person, you have a purpose for that person. Then what kind of policy, what can you say and what can you not say when you meet that person, and then create a plan of that person before you meet them. So you move on. Now when you're measuring your style, when you arrive at this non-existence, you go on to a next stage, which is called danger. This is whereby if you have people under you, or if you have your own self, you have to make sure that you are so disciplined in such a way that these people you met, you are not just going to neglect them, or just meeting people for fun and then you go. That's where you have to start understanding, like, what can I do as an individual, what can I do as a person, so that I keep these people with me, and these people are going to be my clients, or I keep these strategies with me, so these strategies can go. And then when you move there, you go on to emergency, from emergency to normal, normal to affluence, affluence to power. So these are the components of measuring your statistics, because now you have a strategy in the administration, and now you need the implementation, and you need to measure how you are implementing. So let's say you were in the normal condition, and then you drop into danger condition. So you start to apply what the danger condition, when someone is in danger condition, what can they do? That's what you start to apply. And then when you apply that, you are going to make sure that you don't lose your goal, you don't lose your purpose, and your plan, programs, and projects are in line.
All right, the fifth and sixth question: how do I formulate a business strategy, and how do I put one into practice?
Practice is like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then boom, you go on practice. So it needs dedication. You know, the first thing you need to do is to find where you are. Where are you in this? Where are you? Because at first there is confusion. You don't know where you are. You're touching everything. Where are you as an individual? Where are you as a group? Where are you as a company? It depends who is applying or who wants to apply this. So you need to find where you are. When you find where you are, you need to find who you are. Now I guess you're confused. Okay, like I find where am I? Now I'm finding who I am. So for you, or why you need to find yourself where you are, is because we are all in the confusion. We are all in like this planet which is so confused. So if you find where you are between your business, between your gig, between whatever you're trying to do, or whatever you wrote a business strategy for, find yourself. This is the business strategy, and this is you, and this is the planet. Where are you? Are you with the planet, or are you with the business strategy? This can help you to see what's around you, and when you see what's around you, it can be able to help you to move from where you are into another area. So let's say you might be in the business, in your business strategy, and then in that business strategy, who are you? Are you the driver, or you're just the person who's gonna clean after everyone's messy, or you're the person who's gonna be sitting on a desk and typing on WhatsApp or whatever they're doing, or clicking on internet? So when you find all those two things, you will know how to move. Because from there, you want to know, are you not a liability to this, or yes, something which is different? So by knowing all these things, you understand that it's easy to walk. At times walking takes time. At times walking is just instant like this. But you can only walk if you find yourself where you are and who you are. A lot of people want to know, how can I formulate a business strategy? This is the easiest thing. You need to only have a goal for what you want to do. So if you have a goal for what you want to do, you are going to list down the tactics, the communication, and the management or the administration of what you're doing. It's so easy. So usually people want to know how. It's easy. So you put your goal on top. So on your goal, you then draw a diagram which has to divide into 3. The first thing is the planning of the thing, the planning of everything. And then the second thing is the execution, like the part of execution. And the third thing is the part of communication, how you're going to communicate it. So when you're drafting your own or formulate your own business strategy, you need to have a goal, and then you need to have the planning, and you need to have the execution and the communication. Once you have all those things, just so you know, when your goal sends something to communication or something to be communicated, you already have the plan and you already have the execution idea or the execution plan for everything. So whatever you do, it starts with a goal, it goes to the planning, and then it goes to the execution and how you communicate. So it's very easy to list out your own goal, and make sure when you're doing all these things, you have to put your customer on top. That is the first policy. Put your customers on top. put whoever your clients on top, and you are always at the bottom. You have to move from the bottom, going and reach out to your clients and coming back, and reach out to your clients, coming back, reaching out to your clients. So you have to create in your own way, in a way that you understand. But I already told you what kind of a business strategy I use, what kind of a business conditions I use. So if you can create your own formula, you can create your own formula. But don't forget that in every business strategy, you need a plan, a program, and a project. And these things, they move all together. And when you have a plan, that's why you have a planning area, and then you have an execution area. Those are the programs. And then you have the project, which is the whole thing.
All right, the next question: how and when will I know that this business strategy is working?
Remember, I talked about statistics, and in the statistics I mentioned about condition. So these condition formulas, they are like strategies or tactics one has to take when they are in a certain condition. Each and every business individual, they start in a condition which is called non-existent. So when they are in the non-existent, everyone is not operating. They're just trying to find themselves a communication line. They're trying to find themselves a partner, a client, and everything. So in those areas, that's where a person will be like thinking, okay, what can I do as an individual? So how do you know that your business is moving? So if you move from being in the non-existent, the stats will start to write like, you see, you have seen 2 people. Yeah, now it's working. You've seen 3 people, now it's working. Don't rush for the final result. These small projects, they can add up into your program, a program into your plan, a plan into a goal. So these little steps you're doing, you'll be measuring them. Today I met 2 people, tomorrow I met 3 people, and then what did I do in a month? You already was writing down things, you already was measuring. Okay, I spent this much and now I'm getting this much. And by doing all that, writing down what you do, having your own strategy, your plan and everything, you come to realize that you'll be checking what you did previously and what you did this week or what you are going to do next week, and measure it against the time frame of your goal. Like, how do you, someone like, okay, time frame of a goal? Yeah. Remember, when you want to find distance, you have to calculate the speed times time. So this is the distance of where you want to go. So that's where your goal is. So you have to calculate the speed and the time. So if this week you're going to meet 20 people, it means next week you need to meet 30 or 40 or 50 or 100 people. You need to strategize, because if you don't move with the pace, if your goal is to meet 1,000 people in 30 days, you're not going to be able to meet 1,000 people in 30 days. If this week you meet 20 people and next week you meet 17 people, you have to work out yourself like, okay, this day I met 10 people, tomorrow I need to meet 10 people or 20 people or these people, so that you can reach your own target. That's where you see that are you working or you're not working, when you are measuring things you did today or measuring things you did this week in comparison with what you did next week. So make sure in your program, make sure in your whatever business strategy, you involve how you are going to measure your own progress. Because if you don't involve how you're going to measure your own progress, at times you're going to see as if you're making progress while you're moving around, not moving forward.
And last but not least, can you give us a practical example of a business strategy?
So the example I can give you is, let's say for an instance, someone who is going to start social media marketing. So a person who open an account, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they all want some likes or some followers. And let's say they don't have money, there's nothing in their pocket. And what can they do? Now, they have to come up with a strategy. Guys, how can we get known? We're not just going to be social media marketers without trafficking coming to our, and so the first thing you need to do is to make sure that everyone involved in that business or everyone involved in that startup, they really know what is social media marketing. So when they all know what is social media marketing, they know that social media marketing involves content creating. How do we create such a thing? Can we have our own pages which now talk about people? So you have to come up with strategies. how do people do the things, and how can people do this? What are the most touching stories? What are the most trending? And then you strategize, you become creative in what's happening. Now start to create memes, start to create a quote, start to create a flyer, start to create something which captures people's attention. Go on Twitter, tweet things which are creative in such a way that people start to retweet, like creating conversation. So you all need a strategy on how to create a conversation. For example, we are in the lockdown process right now, and then it's going to end. In South Africa, people are like in the level 1. In Zimbabwe, it's another level. Everywhere is different levels. In other countries, United Kingdom, they are back on lockdown. So the thing is now, what kind of strategy can you use so that you reach these different people? What kind of strategy can you use so that you can make, or you can create an impact? You can start trending. I'm not saying post nude pictures. I'm not saying go and shout at people, but it depends how you want to go about it. So a lot of people will go and start following other people. A lot of people will make sure that each and every person who follows them, they talk to them and they talk about their product. A lot of people will create a hashtag. So it doesn't matter how many people you are, you can create your own brand. And when you create your own brand, you need a strategic thing. So as a social media person, if you want to go out and start your own social media, yeah, you can be told about all different applications. An application doesn't communicate to people. You are the person who communicates to people. So the only way you can be the best strategic or best content marketer or best social media marketer is whereby you start communicating with people. You start creating stories. You start creating trending things. You start creating hashtags which people will be following. The moment you do so, that will be the easiest strategy. A lot of people will come to you trying to learn how you did it, but you were only simple clicking buttons, understanding the social behavior of people. And by understanding that social behavior of people, you then go by and start to apply this, and then you start to apply this, and then you start to create this, you start to create this. Some brands are even built from accounts where people were shouting, demeaning and stuff like that. Now that they have a large following and a lot of impressions, they'll start to say, okay, I'm not going to be doing social media marketing. But whatever strategy you're going to make sure that it is in line with your business. The thing is, you are spreading more positive than negative, because if you spread more positive, you are going to get a lot of people. And make sure you understand what's really happening in there. And one thing to put in your strategy when you are trying to be a social media marketer is to make sure that you create stories that trends. You create humor. You have this idea of whatever you tweet, people are gonna retweet even without reading. People are gonna share even without reading. And when everyone's gonna ask you, oh, what is this? Yeah, you can be able to answer. And the first thing you need to do when you want to be a social media marketer, you make sure that you yourself appear on social media everywhere, the same way you're gonna tell your clients. Because at times it's not about a hashtag. At times it's about appearing. That's why we have search engine optimization. Because a lot of people, they search how, who, where, when. So when they search that, it's you who's gonna be popping up on top.
So those were all the questions that I got. Those were all the questions I received. Thank you so much, Tonderai, for honoring this invitation and for sharing that information with us.
So thanks very much, and that's all I can share, and that's all I can tell you about. And until then, my friend, be who you must be.
That was Tonderai from Tornicles Inc. I will put up their details in the description box so that you guys can check them out later. Whatever questions that you may have regarding today's topic, do let us know in the comment section and we'll try to answer as many questions as possible. Thank you so much for joining us for the first episode of Young Business. I hope you learned a thing or two. And as I said earlier, whatever questions that you may have, please drop them on the comment section and we'll try our best to have them answered. For future reference, guys, we would like to do a few episodes on tax compliance. I realized that the issue of tax compliance is the downfall of a lot of young Black-owned businesses. So if you are a practicing tax practitioner operating in South Africa, and would like to share that information with the public, please do get in contact with us. For those of you that may have tax-related questions, follow me on Instagram. It's at @GaryNarain. I'll try to put it somewhere up there. Follow me on Instagram and drop all your tax-related questions. As soon as we have a tax practitioner that is willing to collaborate with us, I'll pass all your tax-related questions to him or to her. Again, thank you so much for having joined us for the very first episode of Young Business. Hopefully you'll be back for number 2, 3, 4, 5, and however many more that we are going to have. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel over there. Click your notifications bell and share the link with your friends. Until I come back with episode 2, bye.